thanks giver. You got no hold, not no sliver. All day I keep drinking whiskey straight until I got no liver. Cold like bruh, make you shiver. Snatch it.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Let's Talk. I haven't recorded in a while, and again, my excuse is people have been home, and I hate recording when people home, but that's a crappy excuse, so I should probably just start doing it more. My bad. Guys, today I want to talk a little bit about divorce. It's a stupid number about how many parents actually get divorced in today's generation in our society today. Literally 50% of parents or just marriages that happen end up getting a divorce. 50%! That's insane! For me personally, my parents got divorced too, and I know a lot of people are going through that, and I'm sure there's so many videos on YouTube because of the staggering number of parents that actually are divorced. So I'm sure there's tons and tons of videos on this already, but I wanted to make one because it's just helping me a little bit. So I'm going to talk a little bit about ways you can cope with divorce, and how I got through it, and just information on it. So my parents got divorced when I was pretty young. I was in grade 6 when this happened, so probably around 12 years old. At first, I thought this was a good idea because my parents were always fighting, and it felt like it was never peaceful in our house, which is a really crappy thing as a kid to be dealing with that. I would come from school and it would be fine until my other parent got home, and it would just always be arguing. No matter what, it was just fighting about something, and it really sucks as a kid to deal with that because it's like, people see from the outside that everything's okay and things are going well, but really it's never peaceful, and there's always tension in the house, and you can never really feel relaxed about your situation that you're in. So when my parents did separate and eventually got divorced, I thought it was a good thing. There was more peace in the house, but it's really difficult. I actually only was able to see my dad every other weekend. So I spent 2 weeks with my mom, 1 weekend with her, and then for 2 days I would be able to go see my dad. This took away a huge amount of time and relationship building that I should have had with my dad, and it really sucked. I can only imagine what he would have felt because he lost pretty much his kids for a long time. As I grew up and I got older, I started to see him a little bit more often, and we started to do things on a regular basis. Just because I got to that age where I basically had control over me seeing him more often than only every other week, and only every other weekend, yes. But for a kid to not have a father figure in his or her life for a long time, words can't really describe what that feels like. It's hard. It's not easy to grow up and go through your teenage years and really important stages of your life without a father in your life that you see on a daily basis and that you can talk to on a daily basis. So to this day, it almost feels like we're making up lost time, you know what I mean? When I do see him, it's really good, and I'm happy to do that, but it always feels like we're making up for a lost time that we lost back when my parents split. So people, if any of you are going through a divorce or know people that are going through divorce, I'd encourage you to just, if you are going through that, talk to someone that you trust, a friend, a family member, or even a counselor. I always talk about seeing a counselor, and I still do to this day, and it always helps. If you are, I'd encourage you to talk to someone about it and just get your feelings out and what you feel, because everyone feels differently about divorce. Sometimes divorce is really needed, especially if your parents' relationship is extremely toxic. It's sometimes really good, and other times, like for me, it was hard for me because I missed my dad. I really did. So I didn't have that father figure growing up, and that's not easy. I became the man of the house at a really young age, and I didn't know what that meant, and I didn't know what that entailed to me, but all of a sudden I was the only guy in the house, and it felt weird at times. It really did. I couldn't describe that feeling, but it was different. I never had that father-son time that I did when my dad was still living at our house. People, if you are going through a divorce or know people that are going through divorce, never play the blame game. Don't ever blame yourself, okay? I never did this as a kid, but I know it's a big thing for kids to do. A lot of the time the kid will blame themselves or and just think it was on them that their parents got divorced. It's not, okay? It never is. It shouldn't be, at least. And if the parents say it is, it's really not. It's because they couldn't figure out they couldn't communicate properly. It's not the kid's fault. It never is. It should never be the kid's fault. So please don't blame yourself for a divorce happening or a separation or anything like that, because it is really not your fault. Another thing I think was difficult for me as a kid growing up is now that divorce is expensive, believe it or not. My parents are doing well financially before they split, and then afterwards it's I kept on hearing, we don't have money to do this, we don't have money to do that, I can't take you out for supper tonight because I don't have money to do this. And you know, like it sucks hearing that, because it's like, man, the kid will, or like, I know for myself, I always thought that we were broke. Like, I always thought that we didn't have money to do anything, and it feels weird thinking that. Like, it sucks knowing that your parents, they can't really do things for you that cost money because they're split up. And it's like, you know, like, if you guys would have stayed together, maybe I could have done this, maybe I could have done that, you know, maybe you could have put me through sports or something like that, as an example. But and sometimes it can't happen if your parents split, because it costs a lot of money to get a divorce. I think one positive thing for me that came out of my parents' divorce was I know now that I never want that to happen. I don't want my kids to go through what I and my sister and I had to deal with. I do not want that for my kids. I will do everything in my power to make sure that I find the right one where I don't get divorced and my kids don't have to feel like they have to pick sides between a parent, and you know, they don't have that financial strain of, are we going to be able to make it through the next couple months, because you know, now there's only one parent providing for you rather than two. One thing I really struggled with through my parents' divorce was, I just mentioned it before, picking sides between parents. This was brutal. I always felt like I had to pick a side, and at first it was like, oh, pick mom's side, pick dad's side, but you never really, like, it was so frustrating because at times one parent would badmouth the other, and the other would say that's not true and badmouth the other one back, and it's like I was always kind of in the middle. I was that middleman, and it sucked so bad. And you probably won't realize, it's never really the kids, it should never be for the kid to know why they got divorced. I don't want to, like, how do I explain this? The kid shouldn't have to pick side, basically. You don't want one parent saying this about the other and then the kid feeling like, oh, well, maybe my dad or maybe my mom wasn't as good as I thought and I don't like them as much anymore. You should never have that growing up. And as you get older, you'll probably realize, like, more which parent, like, I don't want to say to blame, because that's not the case, but like which one you should have been like closer with, I suppose, or which parent kind of made the effort, or why the reasons were they got divorced. I guess what I'm trying to say is, as you get older, you'll understand the divorce a little bit more, and I don't want to say pick a side, but you'll realize kind of what really happened and who was there for you, and the ins and out of the problems. When a divorce happens, I think there's a lot more responsibility on the kid, and this was a big one for me because, like I said, I had to be the man of the house. I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea what I was supposed to do with that title, but I was the only guy in the house, which means I had responsibility of other things, and it was kind of weird. Like, I didn't know what it meant, but especially as I grew up and through my teenage years and whatnot, I really started to realize what that was. I was doing more of the work to the house, like building stuff. I was setting things up more. I was working outside more. Basically just doing what my dad would have been doing when he was home and living with us. And I took up that responsibility. And I think that to this day helped me become more of helped me realize who I am more, and built my character more. So I don't regret that, and I don't have hard feelings on that, because it really did make me who I am today, and I love how I turned out. So if you guys are going through a divorce or know someone that is, I would encourage you to never badmouth, let one parent badmouth the other parent, or have other people badmouth one, and you know, like that kind of thing. You still want to, if possible, you still want to have a good relationship with both parents. As a kid, you need to have a good relationship with both parents, because you need to feel like they still care about you. You need to feel like you still have parents in your life, and have that mother or father figure in your life, even if your parents are split up or divorced. So if possible, spend as much time with both parents as you can, and just know that it is not your fault for whatever happened. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's probably a little bit shorter. Hey, I got out what I wanted to say, and I'm just glad I made a video about this. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below what I should record next. I actually do need some comments, like seriously, I want some like options on what I should record, because like it's hard thinking of new things every day or every week to record. So yeah, just leave comments down below, and I would love to do some of the things that you guys have opinions on. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any other videos that I upload, and remember, keep it classy.